Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Secretary, welcome. We're delighted that you're here. Part of the challenge against you this morning, and I'm sure some days, is the explanation of the tariff matter that President Trump has initiated and sticking by. I'd like to provide just my input on that, if I could, that I think that President Trump sees the relationship with China by what it really is, and that is an unfair relationship, one in which needs to be not only looked at, but really something done about it. And I know that while we have PNTR, it should mean that we treat them the same way they treat us, but that is not happening. President Trump, as part of these changes, has changed the de minimis rule, and that de minimis rule was the amount of money that a package, when it comes into our country under this circumstance, whether it was looked at or not, whether a tariff was paid upon it. And I believe that there were Chinese companies taking advantage of that. Some 4 million packages a day were coming to the United States. And I say were coming because I do not believe that that rate is still occurring. As a result of that, what happened is it contributed to the fentanyl issue that we had because we did not look at these packages with the same viewpoint that others did. My point in bringing this up is that I believe that with the new numbers of 177,000 net new American jobs being created in the private sector, that there's an understanding by people who want to invest in America that this president is finally taking on the Chinese, who undermined not just intellectual property, but undermined with their government, the Chinese government, undercutting the price and manufacture of many products that were American-made. Many of them, or some of them, might be power tools, and of course we know Craftsman is an American-made product, but it is not uncommon, was not uncommon for their tools to be on the internet at $400 or $500, and for a Chinese product to be brought in for $40 or $50. That undermined not just our intellectual property, but actually undermined the manufacturing that takes place in this country. And I'm delighted that you and the president are engaged in balancing that out, and I think that's what this 177,000 new American jobs net provided for us, because it's people who want to invest in the United States, knowing that finally we have a president that will protect that onslaught of Chinese goods, undercutting American, not just jobs and intellectual property, but the events that take place therein. And I think this president has done a great job, and I want to offer my support for that, because I think that part of what the president has done is set a new challenge and mark for Americans now to pick up that part that was before challenged by China. Mr. Secretary, Russia still earns over $700 million a day in fossil fuel revenue that helps its war against Ukraine. And I think that most of us here would like to see Russia held accountable. Can you talk to me about sanctions that are or are being considered against Russia energy firms as it relates to selling their products to China?
Yes, sir. And I will tell you that the Biden administration exercised, with regards to Russia and Ukraine support, a big dichotomy. On one hand, they're giving aid to government of Ukraine. On the other hand, their sanctions against the Russian Federation were very, very weak. The sanctions were just against some of the lower-level oil companies. There was a price cap that has never worked. On his way out the door, in a fit of bravery, the National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, raised the sanctions because the Biden administration had been worried about upsetting the oil price, pushing up oil prices during an election year. The Trump administration, through our energy abundance and signaling to the energy markets, crude oil is down about 20% thus far this year. And I read with great interest this morning that Russian
Gentleman's time
Federation
has
revenues
expired.
were down 12% last month, which will put a dent in the Russian war machine, sir.
Mr.
Gentleman's time
Secretary,
is-
I hope that you'll find today
Thank you, Mr. President.
valuable for us and yourself, and I hope you'll know that we want.
Gentleman from